Technical.
It's loading. All right, and we're live. Hello, everyone. I'm Sam Foreman from the Committee of 70. We are excited to again be presenting our Studio C70 Student Candidate Interview Series. Today, we are joined by Rue Landau, a Democratic nominee for City Council at Large. I will now turn it over to Ellie Salmons and her class at Northeast High School.
All right, good afternoon. We're very excited to speak with you today. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to our students who have some questions for you.
Hi, my name is William Grant. I am a senior here at Northeast High School. And the first question I have for you is, how will you better housing in Philadelphia, and will it ally or will it conflict with gentrification?
That's a fantastic question. Thank you guys for having me. So first of all, my entire professional background has been in housing. So I'm excited to tackle this issue because it's a huge problem in Philadelphia. I was a lawyer at Community Legal Services. I represented low-income tenants for 10 years. And then I ran the city's, Human Relations Commission and Fair Housing Commission. So I've been working on these issues for decades. What you're asking is a big problem because what happens is a lot of people come in, they tackle issues of housing and neighborhoods, put in fancy new housing, and it makes the prices increase so that people who already live there have to move. And that is not what we want in Philadelphia. We want everybody to be able to live in whatever neighborhood they want to. And if you've been invested in a community for many years, you should be able to stay there. So I have some ideas having it. I'm so sorry about this. 1 second, please. I have a lot of ideas that have to do with taxes and income. One of the things that happens is when the neighborhood increases, your taxes go up. So if you're a homeowner, your taxes increase. And if you're a renter in a house where the taxes increase, the owner of the house believes they have to pass that tax increase on to the tenants. Again, pushing people out of neighborhoods, that's absolutely what we don't want. So I have ideas on how to keep taxes lower, keep them stagnant so that when the neighborhood increases, people can stay in their communities, and other ways in which we can invest in communities to make sure that people can stay. So for example, it's a real simple one. There's a whole homes repairs program that was just passed in Harrisburg, and it's going to provide money to low-income homeowners to make repairs to their properties. We in Philadelphia are still figuring out that they're figuring out how to fund that. And then we in Philadelphia have to figure out how to get that money from that pot into the hands of the homeowners. And we got to make that as seamless as possible, but that's going to help people fix up their houses and remain in their communities.
My name is Hannah Hassan, and my question for you is, what got you into politics, and what do you think, what political issues do you think are most important currently?
Politics is just kind of what I've been doing for so many years. When you're doing issues that are local, housing, community issues, whatever, in my opinion, it's all political. So again, I ran 2 city agencies, the Human Relations Commission and the Fair Housing Commission. Both were, so the Civil Rights Enforcement Agency and the Housing Enforcement Agency. I got to work really closely within administrations. I worked for Mayor Nutter and Mayor Kinney. And I also got to work very closely with City Council. So I've already been doing a lot of this work, and this was just like a natural extension to what I was doing. But without a doubt, excuse me, my most important issues that I want to work on are what we're all living with every day, right? Public safety, neighborhood investment, and housing. And those to me are once we tackle these really big issues, I think our city starts to make a massive turnaround, right? Right now, in my opinion, the pot, I'm so sorry about this, 1 second. Right now, the pot is on boil. We've got too much crime. We've got everybody, we've got people disinvesting from neighborhoods. We've got the lingering effects of the pandemic still here. We've got to turn the city around. We've got to invest in our neighborhoods, our workforces, get people good jobs, have them stay in Philadelphia, and also have them be able to work one job that pays enough so they can pay for their housing and stay wherever they live. One job so they can pay for good daycare or after school programs for their kids. It's got to be a major investment that we're working on. And I personally believe a lot is going to change, starting on January 2nd. We've got new leadership coming in on all levels, and I really think that this is the time that things are going to change. But we all can't do it alone, too. Like, we want to do it with high school students and with other folks who want internships, and it's got to be a collective effort of Philadelphia in general.
Thank you. Anthony, do you want to answer your
Howard.
Okay, go ahead.
How you doing? My name is Faisal Ali. I would like to ask like a general question, like how did you get inspired to run for this position? Was it anything like you saw in particular, or is it personal?
I think it's both. I think, when I first got to my previous jobs working for the city, the Human Relations Commission and Fair Housing Commission, they didn't receive a lot of love for a long time. And I came in, and I was it's two agencies that enforce a lot of laws, but they hadn't had a lawyer there in 20 to 25 years. So I made a lot of changes internally and citywide that was really helpul, that raised the profile of the agencies and made them, function in a very kind of efficient and high-paced way. So it made me realize how much I like tackling problems, doing it for the better of Philadelphia. And so to me, there's so much to do. We are at a time of significant distress in the city. I think we're at a crossroads. Like, we have to choose which way we're going here, right? We are between our school district, our neighborhoods, housing, whatever, crime. People are in despair. People who can afford it are leaving the city. And we're having trouble getting the businesses back as well. So to me, I don't know, I'm just kind of drawn to, I've got good ideas. I know there's a lot of great people who have great ideas and are other problem solvers. And we just got to get in there and get the work done. And I've got a track record of doing it. Can't wait to do more of it. And then the personal too is just, I think you all know, if you got prepped for this conversation, I'm not sure, but I can't wait to tackle the job for the job, but also I am going to be our first openly LGBTQ council person. And to me, making history on top of wanting to do the job and knowing that I'm going to do the job well is certainly is a proponent of why I'm doing it now. But, I encourage any of you who are interested in any of these issues. When you talk about politics, as far as I see it, is just like, we have problems and issues in the city, and we need people who are going to step up and be leaders to fix it. Not for personal glory or gain. It is literally about building coalitions, bringing people together to tackle our really pressing problems and just make Philadelphia the great place that it has been, still is, but certainly can be. And that's really all it takes. It's like, it's the perfect job, a little mix of everything for me.
Hi, my name is Anthony, and over the last year, I noticed that there was like a lot of smoking and drugs on not only the metro, but also on the buses. And my question was, what is going to be done in order to make public transportation safer?
I think every one of us in city council wants to work on that, as well as the new mayor. Philadelphia doesn't have as much control over SEPTA as I would like. There's a board, and Philadelphia has a few seats, but not as many seats. So I think the problem is we're a large part of the ridership, and then don't have as much influence over some of what SEPTA does. But I think collectively, if we all come to SEPTA, I think this is the answer to almost everything. We're asking people to leave their houses and come back to work. We're asking students to travel far to go to their schools. And we're asking more people. SEPTA's having a financial problem right now. We're asking more people to ride SEPTA, but they're not doing their part all the time of making it a safe, healthy place for all of us. My son is a sophomore at Central. He travels an hour every day to get to school, or 45 minutes every day to get to school. I'm very aware, and I take public transportation all the time too. So I see what you're saying. We've got to make every one of these entities has to be a partner in what we need to do to make our first class city, right? You don't, some other cities you go to, you would never see things like this. And so we need to make sure that every time someone's riding on SEPTA, that it's an experience that they want to come and do it again. Because one shooting, one getting high, someone falling out, or, bodily functions, people don't take it again. And we can't have that happen. We can't risk that.
My question is, what would you like to change about the conditions of Philadelphia public schools?
Wow, that's a great one. So I already start by telling you, one, I've got a son and a niece and lots of people I know who are public school students. But also in my job at the Human Relations Commission, I was in many schools around the city. We helped to bring people together, help them resolve conflicts, and help the schools resolve some other issues. So I've been in a lot of them. One, I couldn't be happier about the state court decision, the Commonwealth Court decision about fair funding for our schools. We've got to get more resources into our schools, but that is the first thing. It's been unfair, and in my opinion, just kind of unjust and racist for all of these years. And so I'm super glad that we're going to get more funding. Two, many of the schools are in such poor condition. You guys should not have to go to schools that are unhealthy in any way. Even in the schools that are in decent shape, I know even your bathrooms or the water coming out of the faucets or whatever, they're not good. And we need to get you state-of-the-art, top of the line facilities in order to make sure you want to go to school and it's also a healthy place to be. I think, it's Northeast High is interesting to me because you guys, it's a great school. You're honor students in this school, right? And but not all schools are equal. And one of the things I want is to really make them all equal, that people want to go to their neighborhood school, that their neighborhood school offers everything that the Northeast, the Central, or any place else offers. And this needs to start. The only way to make this happen for high school is when we start down in our elementary schools. The schools need to have every resource. And again, this is funding, but this is also planning, right? This is policy issues. These are decisions that the school district has to make, that every elementary school, they're going to have counselors. They're going to deal with kids dealing with trauma, dealing with health issues, that there's plenty of tutoring, that there's I think there should be before school time and after school time in every single school, so that if you need help with classes, or if you want to do an extra club or something, even in elementary school, that you can, or a homework, that could be the safest place that you have. But once we start this in elementary school is where I think it comes all the way up. And every single school has to have these resources. You need more counselors. We got to destigmatize mental health conversations. We need to have, it should be the norm that you could go talk to the counselor whenever you need to. And we need to, like the goal for me is to invest as much as possible into the lower levels, so that when you get to high school, we're not all fighting for like 2 or 3 or 4 schools. It should not be that way. We have the capacity. We've got great teachers. We've got incredible students, as we know. You guys are right there. And but not every family can support their kid the way others can, and we just got to make it equitable. So it's going to take a fully different way of thinking about things and learning, but it's got to happen. And there's no reason why we shouldn't have all of the resources again that all the schools do. And I think some of this to me is after school time and stuff. I know somebody who was working for a nonprofit, was trying to bring after school projects and stuff to middle schools. This is not too many years ago, but years ago. And she had to try to sell it to principals. Will you accept this? We're going to come in. The program's going to be free. We're going to have all of these things that your students can come to after school. And a lot of the principals were like, nah, not going to do it. Like, what? This is crazy. This should be, and we got to set up a system. I'm not saying the principal has to stay after 3 o'clock every day, but someone should be there and should allow this to happen and stuff. I think there's so many opportunities that we can do. And we just, you guys are our future. You're our workforce. You're our neighbors, our colleagues, your family members, your everything. We got to invest in you as much as possible, but we've got significant challenges and we've got to take them on. And one thing I can do in council, we have, we fund the school district. It's not that we want to take the money away, but we get to ask a lot of questions about, we give you all this money. Tell us what you're doing with it. Tell us why we don't have this. Tell us why the students are coming to us. And you should come to council people. You should explain what's going on and what you think that we need. And, tell us what your ideas are. That's you're on the front lines, you know better than we do.
I didn't want to ask you, was there any obstacles you faced while being an activist?
Yeah, there always are. You're fighting with very few resources against people who are well resourced. Yeah, I mean, there always is. But there's also always gains. And, let me tell the story about how I got to know the school district as well as I did in 2009 and 10. And it really talks about change and how it can happen. To me, all of it, what I'm going to tell you the story of is just, it's maddening because we all know the problems and we know how to fix them. And we just need to get people to actually fix the problems. So my entree really into the school district, I had done a lot of these programs of, these are programs that we would do to bring people together across races and religions and whatever to get them when there was tension in schools. But we were set to go into South Philly High in 2009 with this federal government comes into, and we do this program. And as you might recall, in December of 2009, maybe you don't know about this, but the Asian immigrant students were being attacked at South Philly High. And we were coming in again with this program to help people understand each other and get folks together. But the principal at the time wasn't responding to us. You're supposed to get a list of the students ahead of time, who's going to be there. You get the leadership of all kinds of different types of leaders in school together to do this program, but she wasn't returning our phone calls. She wasn't giving us the list. We were like, can we even put this program on? And I had just started getting involved, starting to calling all the way up to 440, the superintendent, like what's going on. And that day is the day where not only were the students attacked the most that they had been, and we knew about this. This is not a secret. This is why we're coming into the school. But then they did a protest and they walked out. And they said, we're not going back to the school unless it's safe anymore. And to me, this is the story of activism that is a success and it really works. And it's a really sad story of why do we have to get here? We all knew this. I've been talking to these students since April. We've been working on things. I've been helping them. They were working with Asian Americans United. They were trying to get systems in place where they could document what was happening to them. But here we were about to have some real solutions. So I remember they walked out, protests happened. We did get the program to come in a week or so later, but it was the beginning of just a really, really tough time. My agency, the Human Relations Commission, we did 11 public hearings throughout Philadelphia. and got people to come and talk to us, students, teachers, parents, community members, about what was happening with intergroup conflict in schools and how we could resolve them. And through that, we wrote this great report, and it came up with a whole bunch of recommendations, and we brought the recommendations to the school district, and they actually implemented a bunch of them. We were really a catalyst in helping to get rid of their zero tolerance policy they used to have. If you had a job at UPS after school and accidentally left a box cutter in your bag or something like that, you would get automatically kicked out of school, period. I heard story after story of people getting kicked out for nonsense under this rule, instead of just being, adults and saying like, hey, what happened here? Who are you? What happened here? Is this a one-time thing? Have you continued to do this thing? Let's just be very reasonable. So we got rid of zero tolerance policy. We helped rewrite the bullying and anti-harassment policies. We helped train all of the adults in schools. And to me, in this story, we pressed for other things that we don't have enough of now still: language access, peer counseling, restorative justice. But for me, this is the story of activism when it has a great result. And I come back to my very first statement, which is so important. All of the adults knew what was happening and knew what was going on and could have stepped in to stop it, and they didn't. And this was, my goal and my next job is going to be fixing as many problems as possible so we don't have to get here. But to the extent that, problems still exist, that's where I think that activism does play a role. I want to add, the previous question you also had, you asked me was one of the things I want to fix in the schools or want to do for the schools. I'm a really big, I'm a strong proponent of conflict resolution and de-escalation training and tactics. And I don't think that any of this should come into our schools in a way that it's like an assembly or a video people watch or just this one thing you do every year, once a year. I want this to be normalized and ingrained in what every single adult, every adult in every school knows. And I know we can train all these folks because I did it. In the story I just told you, we came in and trained every adult in every school. We didn't even have Zoom at the time. On the new anti-bullying and anti-harassment policy. And I know we can do this. We can get folks so trained up that in kindergarten, when kids are fighting over, a book or papers or something, that we teach them different tactics of how to resolve their conflicts. And we can do this and just normalize this every single day, that by the time the kids are 14, 15, 16, all the way up to 18 years old, they're not fighting the way we're seeing now. They're not, actually grabbing for guns sometimes. That this is really normalizing de-escalation and conflict resolution. And again, through this process where I went to so many schools and talked to so many people with these 11 hearings, I know it can happen. And it shouldn't be principal by principal, and it shouldn't change. I remember we went into George Washington High and learned about their great peer mediation program and all of these other things. At some point, the principal leaves and the programs are going away. No, it has to remain. We have to keep this, the continuity of what we're doing for the students has to remain regardless of who's the principal. So I know we can do it. I feel great about it. These are life skills, right? You can't go into the workplace and get in a fight with somebody and start yelling and slamming things around. So why aren't we teaching every single student starting in kindergarten how to do these things?
Thank you so much. Those are all of our questions. If you want to, leave with any closing remarks, we're very thankful for your time today. So.
Well, just thanks so much for having me. I think, you guys are, you're exactly who we want and need to stay in Philadelphia and work in Philadelphia. I can't wait. I'm going to have as many interns, including high school interns, as possible. So keep in touch. And we can definitely do that. Again, I also want to know from you, what you see the issues are. You know, we need to make sure, I know you're on your way out and I'm proud of all of you. I know you're going to be doing great things after this, but let's make sure we make sure Philly schools are great from starting from kindergarten on for all the kids who hit it. And anything you can tell us, I think that's what we really need to hear.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm sorry. Thank you again to all of you. Really an incredible interview. Just a couple reminders before we say goodbye. Today, October 23rd, is the registration deadline for the upcoming general election on November 7th. Make sure to visit 70.org to stay informed, use our ballot tools, and engage before that election. Please tune into our upcoming sessions, including one tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 for Studio C70. Thank you for watching, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.